Hey, what's up, you guys? Great to have you back on the show. I'm Sean David. Thanks for tuning in. Let's talk some old school basketball. In today's episode, I want to talk about one of the more lesser-known rivalries of the 1990s, the rivalry and feud between Larry Johnson, so Grandmama, and Scottie Pippen. But before I start with this video, a quick shout out to my Patreons. Thanks a lot, you guys, for supporting the show. It's really appreciated. And I would say, let's get right into today's episode.
The two guys he has exchanged pleasantries with this year have been Larry Johnson and Jeff Van Gundy. Pippen spoke to Jim Gray.
Scottie Pippen working against his good friend Larry Johnson.
We're not best of friends on or off the court.
Larry's doing the talking and Pippen responding.
I think that Mason gives you a lot more than what Johnson can give you.
Larry Johnson referring to Pippen needs to shut his mouth. He's a bum.
You know, whatever Scottie thinks about me, fine. You know, he posed no threat to me. He knows what I think about him, which is nothing.
Now, as you can see, there was a real feud going on between Larry Johnson and Scottie Pippen, but let me take you back right to the start and let's see how it all began. Back in the 1980s and 1990s, the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference both had their own identity. The Western Conference played an up-tempo, fast-paced ball, while the Eastern Conference was more physical and tough. Teams like the Bad Boy Pistons and the New York Knicks were the poster child of how brutal the East could be. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, though, most teams had the so-called no layup rule, which meant that once somebody penetrated into the paint, well, you had to foul hard to make them understand that they should not come back. Especially high flyers like Michael Jordan, Clyde Drexler, or Scottie Pippen really had a lot to go through when they played against those Eastern Conference teams. So in the late 80s, when the Knicks were about to become a playoff contender and former Chicago Bulls forward Charles Oakley joined the Knicks, naturally Chicago would be their new rival. And it even got a lot tougher once Pat Riley took over as the head coach of the New York Knicks, giving his team an even tougher personality. From that point onwards, every year the Knicks and Bulls was just a battle.
Trying to shake off Starks. Oh, what a move by Jordan! Both clubs going at each other. Michael Jordan and Xavier McDaniel having words. Smith, stopped again. The Knicks over the Bulls in 7.
The season ends for the New York Knicks at the hands of the Chicago Bulls.
Michael Jordan with 49 points. Here's Jordan.
Over the years, Pat Riley assembled some of the toughest players in the entire NBA. Hard-nosed defenders, scrappy, no bullshit, all attitude, all hard players that could make your life miserable. For the hardcore New York Knicks fans, obviously players like Patrick Ewing, John Starks, Charles Oakley, and Anthony Mason would forever be New York Knicks. But everything changed, and it all started with the one trade of Anthony Mason. In 1995, Jeff Van Gundy took over as the head coach of the New York Knicks after Pat Riley left to be the man in Miami. After a rough start, the Knicks felt that they had to make some changes. The first move they made was trading away Anthony Mason, a fan favorite that was known for his unique playing style. Mason was a great all-rounder that loved to bring up the ball even though he was a power forward. In return, the New York Knicks received Charlotte superstar Larry Johnson. One season prior, Johnson was averaging 20 points and 8.5 rebounds a game for the Charlotte Hornets. And especially because of his commercials, he was one of the brightest stars in the NBA. The only problem was that Johnson had some serious back injuries and had to change his game. Before his injuries, he was super explosive and undersized post player, but now he turned more into a shooter. LJ knew that in order to win the fans over, he would have to be great and also take the rivalry super serious, especially against the Chicago Bulls. And this is exactly what he did. On the 9th of March in 1997, the Bulls played against the New York Knicks, and Scottie Pippen had a terrible shooting night, only making 4 out of 18. The New York Knicks even won that game by 4. After the game, Larry Johnson was asked about Scottie's performance, and LJ had the following to say. Mike gives him all the cuts. Get the ball to number 23. That's Scottie's best play. Here you go, number 23. So when Pippen was asked about this prior to the next game the Knicks and the Bulls were facing each other, Pippen had some clear words.
I don't see where his game is at the level where he can come out and criticize anybody as a player. He hasn't been able to accomplish anything to the level that where he's opened up people's eyes to think that, he's a great player in this game, or he has made a mark at this level.
On April 10th in 1997, Scottie Pippen would finally have his chance for revenge.
Tonight, the world champion Chicago Bulls take their critically acclaimed act to Broadway as they take on the New York Knicks. The Tex Winter, the Bulls assistant coach, is not with the team tonight, got tonight off. So we wish Tex well and hope he enjoys the telecast of the game here tonight. 2-0 Knicks on top. Pippen off the weave, met by Johnson. Scottie off the glass.
Or to get to the free throw line, and that's not the case. What do we got here? Technical foul. Larry Johnson.
Yeah.
Well, we just talked about these guys having a running battle.
And it precipitates in a technical on LJ. This is a playoff caliber team, talent-wise. Pippen out front.
Another 3. 8 points for Scottie.
And the Bulls leading by 2. And with the ball, Scottie Pippen gets a screen from Longley. Pippen's hot from the outside. Pippen with 10 points on 4 from the field, 2 trays.
Pippen's got Starks, Childs down low now.
Hit to the fadeaway. Big first quarter for Scottie Pippen with 18 points. Feed from Houston goes back for it.
Larry Johnson having his way now. He's got 9 points, and the Knicks take the lead by 1 point.
Pippen for 3, and the Bulls right back on top. Scottie Pippen was 21. In favor of New York in the first 2 games of this series. The Bulls had a 16-8 and a 14 edge, and there's Harper from the outside. First basket lead is 6. Jordan played by Houston. Pippen open for 3. Johnson running at him, and Scottie right on the money. That is his 4th tray of the game. Since about midway through second quarter. Good catch by Johnson and the conversion.
Well, Johnson having his way now. He's got 14 points. Doing whatever he wants down low. The Bulls have no answer.
Scottie Pippen. 26 for him. Knicks by 8. Johnson for 3. Michael rebounds. Pippen on the move against LJ. Scottie Pippen. New York by 11.
Bulls digging herself into a big hole. Looked like a very tired team. 3, long 3.
Scottie Pippen with 31 points, 5 3-point field goals. Rotation defensively. Scottie, Dickey Simpkins from the outside. He connects. Oakley out high. Childs. Pippen, interior piece.
He got the 20-second timeout.
Before 20 seconds, the inbound to Ewing. Childs on the drive baseline. The game's over. The game is over. It's over. The Bulls have defeated the Knicks.
Bulls win their 68th game of the season.
Scottie Pippen would end up having a sweet revenge on Larry Johnson, not only scoring 33 points against 19 points of Larry Johnson, but also Pippen at the game-deciding steal, showing again what a great two-way player Scottie Pippen was. Alright, you guys, that's it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed this video. Do me a favor, please hit that subscribe button. Also click on the notifications button so you always get notified once I upload a new video. And I hope to see you next time. Peace. I'm out.